Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a little different. I'm going to be talking about my first semester, or I guess first trimester, as Yorkville would call it, as a graduate student in their counseling psychology program. So I'm just going to run through the courses I've done, tips and tricks I've learned along the way, because I know a new incoming batch of you will be starting I think the second week of May. And so these are things that I wish I had known before, or things that I wish were just easier to find in general. So hopefully this video is of help to you. Take notes. It's kind of going to be a little all over the place. It'll be separated by course, but other than that, it's just pretend this is a lecture for class and you need to take notes. It'll be good practice. So anyways, yeah, let's start. So semesters at Yorkville University are called trimesters, and so they'll last about 15 weeks, and you will have a 2-week break in between the trimesters. So end of April, end of August, and then I believe end of December are the 3 2-week breaks you get. And so courses can either be 5 weeks or they can be 10 weeks. And so in your first trimester, you will have a biopsychosocial approach to counseling psychology. It is a 10-week course, and it will be very long, but I would say it teaches you a lot. So make sure before you start this program that you understand how to format everything you do, all your references in APA 7. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. This school will throw you under the bus if you cite something wrong. I just cannot stress enough, learn how to cite properly or you will get docked for plagiarism so badly, please. Not that it happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other people. In that course, there is 1 group project, 2 mini papers, a large final paper, and discussion questions. So you will have 2 discussion questions a week. So 2 separate forums that you have to post to with 2 different questions per week, except on weeks where you have an assignment due, then it'll just be 1 discussion question you have to answer. And usually you'll find this based on the textbook stuff you read. Now I will say, I did all of the readings and took very meticulous notes for the first 2 weeks, but I kind of noticed that I didn't really need to read or take notes after that because it kind of repeated throughout the 10-week course. I will say though, for your discussion questions, make sure you use outside sources too. So don't just talk about the textbook. Make sure you go and find other sources on the internet, like peer-reviewed journal articles or websites that are reputable, stuff like that, not Wikipedia. This school hates Wikipedia. Do not use Wikipedia. And make sure you have a question at the end of your discussion. You know what I mean? In order to keep it going with other people in the class. I find out that's really helpful, or else you'll just get really dry responses or you won't know what to say to other people. So try and have a question in there. It's just a lot easier for everyone. There are no live meetings unless you want to schedule them with your professor. I know in later courses, starting in trimester 3, there's live courses that are mandatory and you have to be there at a certain time in order to get grades and not fail. But the first 2, I believe they're just optional. If you want to stop in or see your professor talk about something, lecture, etc. It's mostly reading, a lot of reading. But yeah, don't be afraid to also just, if you're too busy, to just skim and scan the textbook. Control F, search for specific terms in the discussion questions that you can use. Oh, and you also have to cite your discussion questions too. So make sure you know how to do in-text citations and a little reference list at the end. That'll help you a lot. So something else that I had found out mid-course is that you need a 70% to pass a course. It's not a 50 anymore, it is a 70%. The school rounds to 2 decimal places. If you get a 69.99 in a course, you failed. They are not rounding for you, you have failed. So you need to get at least a 70. And there's some courses, I believe there's 2 of them. I think it's interventions and skills, where you need to get a 70% on every single assignment or else you fail the course. So that's very important to note, because it was a surprise to me as someone who did my bachelor's in psychology and everything was a 50 to pass. Now the game has changed and it has got more intense. So Please be wary of that. So in a biopsychosocial approach, you learn a bit about everything in the program, I'd say. You learn about like different counseling models, how to come up with like a case conceptualization. You don't learn about research methods, or at least not much, and you learn about like ethics. It's kind of like a little bit of like a taster or like a charcuterie board of like what the program is and like what you're gonna be learning more in depth as you go on through the courses. Everyone is just as nervous as you, trust me. One thing I like to do is be the first one in the class to post discussion questions, because then you don't have to like be worried about repeating other people's answers, etc. And so you kind of like set the playing field, which is really nice. And don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, I think a lot of us tend to not live in the moment, and then you pass this like little moment of your life, this like your master's degree, you pass it and you're like, wow, that went by really fast. And I really didn't like romanticize it or like enjoy it, or like, you know what I mean? Just don't be hard on yourself. Go take it day by day and you'll be fine. Don't be afraid to ask questions to the professor. There'll be like a little segment where you have to introduce yourself at the beginning of each course. So I guess if you want to get like prepared before the course starts, come up with like a little 150-word blurb about yourself and like your previous education and why you're in this program, yada, yada, yada. And there'll also be like another section about like asking your professor questions or like a course bulletin and stuff like that, which is nice. I will say though, please do learn how to use the library. There'll be tons of like webinars and orientations you'll get emails for. Please do that, because it'll be very helpful to you in the future when you've got to do research methods, which I'll get into later. But yeah, don't be afraid to go to those orientations and do like those lessons that they have up there at the Yorkville site. I think it's called Moodle. Moodle is where like all of this takes place, which is like a little bit of a funny word. Other than my laptop, the only thing I had like extra is like a agenda. And this was to basically, I'll show you like a busy week. Like this was for my biopsychosocial approach. And so I'll have like a to-do list on the side. This is for like that major 12-page essay. And then here I checked off all my discussion questions I needed to, or due dates, or like you'll even see like birthdays in there. So this is like very helpful. I do highly recommend you get like an agenda, especially if you like to handwrite things like I do. And just readings and stuff like that. I wouldn't worry too much about placement yet. I'd say maybe in like term or trimester 2 or 3 is when you should start like looking into placements. But I tried to do that a bit early and I just stressed myself out like way too much. So, and another thing I have is just a notebook. So I mean, it's where I have the script for this vlog I'm making now on like how to succeed, and when I'm doing essays and I just want to jot down notes or like brainstorm for assignments and like write down group members' emails, etc. like that. I'd say get like a notebook where if you're a handwriter like me, write it out. If not, just get like an iPad or open up a Word document on your computer. You'll be good. Now for research methods, this class is 5 weeks long and gave me so much anxiety before taking the class, but during the class, I wasn't nearly as anxious because everyone was like, oh my gosh, like it's so hard. I got like a 69.99 and like I didn't understand anything that was going on. And just don't listen to those people. You'll be fine. Do not listen to the noise. You'll do just fine. Trust me, especially if you have a background in psychology. I guarantee you've taken a research course in your undergrad. You'll be just fine. If you want, get a tutor. I know there's plenty out there. But if you want to save your money, I really truly do believe in each and every one of you that you can succeed without needing one, okay? Another thing is there are Facebook groups for absolutely everything, okay? Just go to Facebook, type in incoming class, May 2023, Yorkville, it'll pop up. Research methods, Yorkville group, it'll pop up. Make friends in Ontario, Yorkville, or like literally there's a Facebook group for anything you can imagine in this program, and you will guaranteed find other people in the same place as you, the same age, etc. And it'll be wonderful to make friends or just chit chat or like bounce ideas off of each other. So yeah, there's 2 discussion questions a week. Please follow the rubric that they have on there. It's really easy to it's really simple. If you don't post a discussion question, I think you automatically fail the class. So please do it at least like once a week. You'll get like probably like a 5%, but you won't fail and like drop out. There's 2 papers at 15% each. The discussion questions are 20% total. And then there's a final paper, which is an absolute monster. Okay, this is like the part of the class that scares everyone. And it is worth 50% of your mark. It has to do with qualitative articles and quantitative articles for any topic you choose within the field of counseling psychology, okay? Make sure you know the difference between qualitative and quantitative. I'm not gonna say it here because not even I'm fully sure of it anymore. But just please do your research because you will need to find 6 articles of qualitative, 6 articles of quantitative in order to make 12 for your final research paper, which is a literature review. I had never done a literature review before this class. So I highly recommend you also YouTube what it is, like psychological ones. YouTube what a lit review is, tips and tricks. I think Chegg or some kind of like student help platform on YouTube has like really good tips. I'll link that video down below in the comments, and then you can just go through each one. You don't need to read the whole textbook. I just skimmed and scanned, looked for important keywords that were in the discussion questions, and then whoop, citation, do a little outside research on Google, and then there, you're good. You don't need to spend like whatever they say, 40 hours a week doing this or whatever. You'll be just fine if you skip and scan, okay? And if you notice you're not doing fine, then I guess start paying attention and go deeper into the readings. But I was fine, especially with my background. If you have a psychology background, whether it be a BA or a BSc, you'll be just fine, okay? Trust me. Some other things that aren't course related is save all your course syllabuses or syllabi, because you will need those in the future if you ever want to get certified somewhere other than your home province. Like let's say you want to go to California. Well, they're going to need proof of the courses you've taken. And I'm sure it'll be a lot less of a hassle if you already have it saved as a PDF on your computer than having to go back to Yorkville and be like, yeah, can I have all 12 of these courses and their syllabuses, please? I'm sure they won't be very happy about that. And something else that I found a little irritating with this program is that you can't double up until the 3rd trimester. This is a new rule because I had talked to other people in the program who were able to do it in like 2021. And I wanted to start doubling up in the 2nd trimester because that's when you used to be able to do that. Not anymore. They don't let that fly for some reason. Even though you're paying for it and you're taking responsibility and doing the courses, they don't care. Just wait till trimester 3. You'll be fine. You'll still graduate within 2 years. It'll all be good. Don't be afraid to send in a ticket to Ask YU. They're usually pretty prompt with their responses. Usually within a few hours you'll hear, unless you're like doing it on a weekend or like a Friday night, then you're not going to get a prompt response. But like if it's during regular like weekday hours, you'll be just fine. I haven't had any negative experiences with profs yet, so like fingers crossed that stays throughout the program. But the ones I've had have been absolutely wonderful with like questions, marking, clarification, etc. Don't be afraid to bookmark certain pages because there's a lot of, I guess like when everything's online, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. So I bookmarked like the library page, I bookmarked Ask YU where you can submit tickets, bookmarked Moodle, etc. Just have like a bookmarked tab so you can easily access everything you need instead of having to go on Google and be like, where is this? Or like, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I can't say much for other provinces, but I know in Ontario, you can be a registered psychotherapist with this degree. If you're in like Alberta, you can become a registered psychologist. But I think you have to get a bit more clinical hour work done in order to do that. And then other provinces, I don't think it's regulated, or you're a counselor or like other titles that I'm not familiar with at the moment because I'm in Ontario. Okay, so a few more other things before I end off this video is that they run on Atlantic Canada time. Because Yorkville University and this program specifically is on the New Brunswick campus, they run on Atlantic Canada time. So all your assignments will be due, I know in Ontario, at least 1 hour prior to like the 11:55 deadline they have Atlantic time, so it'd be like 10:55. So just be aware of the time zones. That's very important. If you need proof of enrollment or your student card, Ask YU is a great place to go and ask those kind of questions. They'll be very prompt with it. Your student card, I think it'll take like a week to get to you though. So, and the quality isn't that good. So take a good picture of yourself. And save your discussion questions in a Word doc and do not post before the first day of the class. I say this because if something were to happen and they get lost, at least you have like a hard copy on your computer of these discussion questions and your answers. And I say don't post before the first day of class because that's what all the professors say. I think sometimes it can change last minute. I know it's happened to me before, and then their expectations change. So yeah, just listen to them. I have faith in all of you. You're all gonna do wonderful. I know this is like a very scary and daunting time, but if I could do it as someone like managing Crohn's disease, that's not in remission, and this is like my full-time thing along with like battling that illness, I'm sure you can handle whatever life throws your way. If you're having trouble, just ask your prof, and Godspeed. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them below and I'll get to them. Thank you so much. Bye.